AI is changing the way salespeople work, but everyone's asking the same question that which AI is actually the best. So today I'm putting that debate to an end as I'm putting Claude and ChatGPT head to head. I gave them both the exact same sales scenario and asked them to write a follow-up email after a demo. So by the end of this video, I'll tell you which one I'd actually trust with a real prospect. So stay tuned.
All right, so first one up is ChatGPT, and this is the prompt that I gave. You're an AE at a B2B SaaS company. You just completed a demo with the head of talent. They seemed interested, but haven't replied for 5 days. Your goal is to write an email that gets a reply, doesn't sound desperate, and adds value, also moves the deal forward. This is what ChatGPT generated. I will not read through the whole email, so I'll just scroll through this so you can read it yourself. Okay, so at first glance, this is a solid email. It's professional, it's polite, and it follows a logical structure. If I received this from a salesperson, I wouldn't think it was written by an AI. But I also don't think I'd reply to this email either. And let me explain why. First off, in terms of personalization, ChatGPT does attempt to personalize the email by referencing something from the meeting itself. The problem is it is still very generic, reducing manual work and improving candidate experience. It could apply almost to every HR team I might have spoken to. What I would have preferred is something much more specific. Maybe it could have come up with some placeholders that, hey, this is where you can put up some references from your conversation, bring up some pain points that they mentioned in the call. Maybe they mentioned struggling with engineering hiring or recruiters spending too much time screening the candidates or any inconsistent interview feedback. That's the level of detail that makes someone stop and think, wow, the person was actually listening. So in terms of personalization, I would give them 6 out of 10. Tonality, this is probably ChatGPT's strongest category. The tone does feel friendly. It's respectful. It sounds very easy to understand. It's not salesy at all. It also doesn't pressure the prospect. So I'd score this very highly. I'd give it 9 out of 10. In terms of clarity, it is easy to read. I'd give it that. Short paragraphs, no jargons, nice flow. If I skimmed it on my phone, I'd still understand the message in a few seconds. So I'll give it 8 out of 10. In terms of the value, this is where I think the email starts losing points. It says, many of our customers reduce time to hire. That's good, but it's still a pretty broad statement. Why not include something more concrete, like one customer reduced scheduling time by 70%, or another company filled roles 3 weeks faster? Specific outcomes is what I would be looking for if I'm reading this. So I'll give it 6.5 out of 10. In terms of call to action, this is actually my biggest issue. Listen to this. If it makes sense, if the timing is right, there are too many escape routes in this email. You're almost giving them permission not to reply. Instead, I would write something like, hey, would next Tuesday or next Wednesday work for a quick 10-minute catch? It's much easier for the prospects to answer. So I'll give them 5 out of 10. Lastly, the human factor. This doesn't sound robotic, but it also doesn't sound memorable. There's nothing in there that makes me think this salesperson really understands my business. It's a good email. It's just safe. So I'll give it 6 out of 10. All right, so now time for the final verdict. If ChatGPT sent me this draft, I wouldn't copy and paste it, but I also wouldn't start from scratch. I would personally spend another 2 or 3 minutes making it more specific, adding one concrete business outcome and tightening the call to action. That's actually how I think AI should be used in sales, not to replace your thinking completely, but to give you a really strong first draft that you improve with your own experiences. All right, so next up is Claude. And as you can see, I use the exact same prompt and Claude did something interesting. It generated 3 different responses for me. So at a glance, I can tell Claude is thinking more strategically than ChatGPT. Instead of relying on one generic response, it has created 3 different options for me. I would prefer Claude's approach over that of ChatGPT, not necessarily because the writing is better, but because it's thinking as a salesperson would. It doesn't assume every follow-up should be the same. Instead, it's giving me 3 different angles, 3 different strategies, depending on where my buyer is in the buying journey. So let's take a look at the first one, which is value add nudge. This looks excellent. I mean, the biggest mistake most follow-up emails make is asking for another meeting without giving the prospect a reason. Claude is doing the opposite. You notice it's saying, I realized I didn't show you something that could help. That's a value-based reason to reach back out. What I really like about this is it references the previous conversation. It is introducing something new in it, and it gives a reason for them to reply. So it's offering two different next steps. A little bit of criticism if I'm being too skeptical. I probably wouldn't say I was thinking about your team. That feels unnatural and unrealistic, I would say. I would make even more direct. Maybe write something like, after a conversation, I realized I didn't show you this. Slightly stronger. I wouldn't go with the previous approach where I would rate them based on each of those 5 criteria. Instead, I would assign an overall rating because that will make the video too long and too boring as well. So I'll just give it 9.5 to this overall response because this looks great. All right, now let's take a look at the second one, which is the direct check-in response. This is clean, it's simple, it lowers the pressure, but I think it gives the prospect too much permission to disappear. Specifically, when it says, no worries if now isn't the right time. That is polite, but it also makes ignoring much easier. I would rather say something like, has anything changed on your end since we last spoke? Now I am encouraging a conversation. So I would give this 8 out of 10 overall. Let's take a look at the last one, which is social proof plus soft CTA. I love this approach. Sales is all about reducing the risk. So mentioning another customer who solved a similar problem instantly makes your solution feel more credible. It builds rapport. And as you must have noticed, and this is something that I mentioned in the ChatGPT evaluation as well, that it should have used placeholders. You see, Claude is using the exact same thing. Claude used placeholders, and it says the customer name that I can put, specific results that I can link back to. That's not ready to send, although I understand, but you still need to know your customer stories. So AI isn't replacing your sales knowledge; it's simply reminding you to use it. It's great. I would give it 9 out of 10 overall. The biggest difference between ChatGPT and Claude is ChatGPT wrote me an email. Claude gave me a sales strategy. That's a much stronger insight than simply saying one is better over the other. All right, so the final scores, the value add email, I would give it 9.5. Direct check-in, I would give it 8. And social proof plus CDA, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Would I send it or not? So probably the first one, value add, I would send it right away. The second one, direct check-in, I would send it with edits, of course. In social proof, of course, yes, I would have to fill in the placeholders, but I would send it after filling in those placeholders. So overall rating, I think Claude actually won this round. This one goes to Claude.
This was just the first round, as writing emails is probably one of the easiest things AI can do. But can it actually help you sell? Can it prepare you for negotiation? Can it handle objections? Or even coach your discovery calls better than a sales manager would? That's exactly what we're going to find out over the next few weeks. So if you're in sales and you're trying to figure out how can AI actually make you better, not just busier, consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next experiment. And always remember, AI won't replace great salespeople, but great salespeople who use AI might replace the ones who don't. I'll see you.